So as you notice, we're in a different garage today.
Yeah, a far tidier one.
Well, still another average garage though. You can see it's full of everyday stuff. My other bike, and my other bike.
What did we count? 14 wheels, wasn't it, yesterday? How many wheels can you get in a garage? That's maybe a question for people.
So welcome to the average garage with Tony and Phil. Phil's behind the camera.
Hello.
So last week you seen us take this out of the XJ, and this is a carb, and today we're going to strip it down, give it a clean, and basically just a little service. If you just want to learn about carbs in general and what we're up to, then yeah, watch us. If you want to learn how to do this yourself, there's much better videos on YouTube. So we're not experts at this, we're not pros. We're just a couple of average guys. Couple of main parts of your carb. This is your intake side, where the air box and the air filters go. And this side is the engine side, so points towards the engine. This is your fuel line and your fuel filter. Your fuel comes down into the carb. Air gets pulled from this side. So your 4-stroke combustion engine has 4 strokes. It's suck, squeeze, bang, blow. But basically on that suck stroke, so the piston's going down on your engine. Yeah, piston's going down and it's pulling the air through. So then what it's doing is pulling air through from this side, through the carb into the engine. This is your throttle cable. And if you look in one of those ports, or any of the ports, you can see when you pull the throttle, this is full throttle, it opens this valve, and if you let go, that's 0 throttle, it closes it. All the carb does, all the throttle does, is opens and shuts that valve, and controls the amount of air that's allowed to be pulled through the carb. And then all the carb is doing is actually, based on the amount of air getting pulled through, controls how much fuel is allowed to be kind of, I guess, thrown into that airstream. So it's as simple as that. That's all the carb does. Air goes through it. It controls the amount of fuel that's kind of, I wouldn't say injected because it's not injected, but the fuel that's kind of sucked into that airstream. You can see this, it's a really good example here. That in there is called the throttle piston, and connected onto the bottom of it is a needle, which we'll show you later. But depending on the amount of air being kind of sucked through this, that will actually put pressure on the underside of this piston and lifts it up, and you can see that needle. And that is really the key to your carb. That piston controls how much fuel is injected or is allowed to be pulled up into that airstream. We're going to
start the strip down.
Yeah, we're going to get Phil to strip it down for us, and then maybe we'll show you some of those parts inside as we take it apart. Right, so Phil's going to start the strip.
Going to attempt to.
And
pretty good condition, to be fair.
Clean.
It's pretty
Sure
clean,
that's not one we've done?
Oh no, don't say that.
Yeah, I think that is one we've done.
Oh no, what? We've done them the wrong way around. Oh no, okay.
Right, we're going to do it again.
Start
we've
again.
Done that one.
Here we go. So because these screws are quite tight, I'm just trying to rest all my weight on the top to avoid any slipping. So we have done 2 of these already in preparation, and they were in pretty good condition, so we're hoping really just give them a good clean, really, because the bike was running fine, wasn't it, as we've said before. This is more a precaution than a necessity, but we shall see.
That's not bad.
No,
so you can see some build up in there, can't you? But
yeah.
So this is the fuel, the float bowl, sorry. So that's where the fuel sits at the bottom.
Which generally keeps it rust free, doesn't it, we've found.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is a good thing.
So Phil's doing that. A couple of tips as well. If you're doing carbs, have a few containers. What we have here is one for kind of dirty bits that don't really see the inside of the carb. We've got one for kind of clean bits. which are inside the carb, but we're not going to scrub too much. And then we've got a third one with kind of cleaning fluid. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what bit are you taking off here?
So I'm just taking off the float now. Just pulled out there's just a catch, just to keep it in. This kind of works almost like your home toilet, doesn't it, we said. So the way that works is if I flip it over, that sits in the fuel, doesn't it? Is that right? The fuel comes in, and basically the float puts this up and down to basically stop the fuel from coming in once it fills up, doesn't it?
Yeah, that controls the, as Phil said, I guess when the float is full, when the bowl is full, that plugs the hole. That's all it does. Phil's taking out the main jet here. Yeah, there we go.
Again, not bad condition at all.
Yeah, and what the main jet is it's basically just a bit of brass with a hole in it. But that hole, the size of that hole is very important because it controls how much fluid, how much fuel is allowed to flow through it. That's the one that flows the main fuel up into the carb. So we're going to give them a good clean, make sure that they're free of any debris.
Now this is the awkward part, isn't it? This this part here. Well, we've found it's been awkward. See if this one moves.
Yeah. So there is there's a seat here. It's called which that kind of plunger part we showed you fits into. Oh, there we go. It's come out. Yeah. So this is what the fuel flows through into the float bowl. So this is it's called a screen. It's kind of like a secondary filter for the fuel. Oh yeah, there's loads of crap on that one.
It looks like there's hair on it, doesn't it?
So
we'll give that a good clean.
Yeah. So we got one more jet to get out. This is the pilot jet.
If you can see in there, but it's kind of almost a bit rounded off already by the looks of it, feels like.
The carb was working, the bike was running fairly smooth. So
yeah, it was.
We're not going to force any of the components out today. We'd rather just get it back together and working.
Yeah. Give it a good clean and that's it.
So we'll leave that one in there.
You can see already, like, before I've even tackled some of these, the screws are kind of a bit rounded, so we'll have to see if we can get them out. We're kind of not really sure of the history of this, are we? Because we thought that maybe the two outside ones had been replaced or cleaned or what have you.
Brilliant. That spring that Phil's holding is what keeps that throttle piston and the needle down when the air is being pulled through the carb. Is actually pushing this piston up. So kind of the way that Phil's just pulled it there. And that's the needle we were trying to show you earlier. Basically this lifting up and down is what controls the amount of fuel that's allowed to be kind of pulled up into the carb.
The next one is this part here, which is this is for the idle, isn't it? This is to work out how rich, or what's the word? How rich the idle is. Yeah. So am I right in saying we tighten it first, don't we, and we count how many turns or half turns to get it to tight, and that's how we then know how much to return it back to.
We said the carb worked from before, so we want to keep it at the same setting.
Yeah. We go. So, oh, that's tight already.
Ah, so is it fully closed?
That's fully. Yeah, that won't go any further.
Okay, well we might have to retune that one once it's done.
That makes life easier initially though, so let's take that one out then.
I think once we put it back in the bike, we'll probably have to do some tuning actually, so there are ways we'll show you, I guess, once we get it back in. So that's the pilot screw. Yeah, it's for the low end throttle where there's not much fuel going past the main jet. We didn't quite clock it when we did the other two, but at the bottom of this pilot screw there is a tiny black washer, tiny black seal, you see the O-ring. So obviously when we took this one apart, we did remember they're meant to be there. But we think they're actually missing from the first two that we've done, because we didn't clock them when we took them apart. So we're going to work backwards and see if we can find them, but I think they were missing from the start. So we got to replace them as well.
Yeah.
So again, another good reason to service your carbs, because I guess you don't know who's done them before and if there's bits missing. So average garage, average tools. We just need to give us a little love tap.
There we go. A bit of gentle persuasion. That's what it was.
So that's the cylinder for the main jet. So actually that's where your main source of fuel is coming through. It's getting pulled up through this tube into the carb. Yeah, you can see that as that needle moves in and out. Yeah. There's like a shape inside that as well. So the further down the needle, the less space there is for the fuel to be pulled through. So the less fuel it's pulled through.
So now the fun part, actually cleaning it all, which you can see already. Don't be alarmed by the brown. That was from the others, wasn't it? But we know we can give them a good clean. We are using motorcycle carb cleaner. I'm sure there's probably plenty of options around, but this is the one we're using. So first of all, just give it a fresh. Now some of it was gunked up. This one was actually not in too bad condition actually, when in comparison to some of the other ones we've done. But
yeah, I think really the important parts for us here is what Phil's got in that box there. It's the fuel. It's the kind of screen filter.
Yeah,
that controls the amount of fuel going into the float. So it's good to make sure that's clean, because that collects a lot of dirt, as you've seen. Oh, and we're using the baby grow.
Oh yeah, the average garage baby grow.
And then the jets as well. That's the other important bit to clean, because that is controlling the amount of fuel really that's allowed to flow in and out of the bits of the carb.
So there we go.
Great, that's looking
nice
much cleaner.
And clean.
The parts cleaned, and really that's just them going back together, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting a delicate job of getting the float back in.
There we go.
Float level is something you hear them talk about when people are setting up carbs. As Phil described, this float is kind of like a toilet cistern. As the fuel fills up, the floats move upwards, and then that plunger which he showed you earlier on basically blocks the hole where the fuel comes in. So it sets how much fuel is sitting in this bowl. So Phil, how are you feeling? You've been, I mean, 2 days ago you'd never touched the carb.
Yeah, it's well, I suppose it helps that it's a 4-cylinder with the 4 carbs. Makes it a bit easier once you get to the end, which is the 4th one. Obviously, it's been it's just remembering. I think a lot of it is confidence, really, isn't it? It's generally pretty straightforward. You just have to have the confidence to do it, really.
Yeah.
It's it's not too bad actually. I'd be confident to do it again. It's kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to do this project, really, wasn't it? We wanted to enjoy it. Oh no! Cut that out. I think after you've done 4 of these, the novelty wears off a bit, doesn't it? Really.
It does. But we've done 2 each, so we've had a bit of practice.
So it's been good.
For me, after you've done a carb, you realise it's not as scary as you think it is. It's
no.
Although there's lots of little kind of really delicate parts in there, it's actually quite simple. Well, it's quite simple how it goes together and comes apart. How it actually works is pretty impressive, to be honest.
That is impressive, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yep. That's our 4-cylinder carb rebuilt.
Looking good.
We'll give it a little bit of a clean. You can see it's a little bit shinier than before. Apart from being bolted together on the same kind of rail, they work independently. So they're just copy and paste of each other, all 4 of them. That's another thing we'll talk about when we put this back into the bike, which is carb balancing. For those of you who are lucky enough or old enough like us to own carbed bikes,
yeah.
All the choke does is it makes the fuel air mixture a little bit more rich, and that's useful for starting cold. That's it.
Excellent.
So yeah, have you enjoyed it?
I have. It was good fun actually. I enjoyed it under the watchful eye of yourself. Yeah. I think originally there's no word I've had the confidence to do that myself, but actually it was pretty straightforward really. Once you kind of get used to doing it, it's pretty get over the nerves. It's fine, wasn't it? It's easy enough. So
well, we've not tried to put it back in and start it yet.
No,
so.
no, yeah.
So that's the end of this episode for us. Oh,
yes.
Minus one thing. Yeah, let's see. Can you see these? Let's see if I can see them.
Our bikes and biscuits feature.
Bikes and biscuits. We're going to end our episode with a bike review. Biscuit review.
Biscuit review.
We've got the Choco Leibniz orange flavour today.
Yeah. So good level of chocolate compared to the biscuit anyway.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, let's dig in. Good crunch.
Good taste. It's like a crispy chocolate orange.
So on that note, I think thanks for joining us for another episode of Average Garage.
Yeah.
What's next, Phil?
I think the next thing is probably a bit of styling next, isn't it? We're going to try and focus on changing the seat. So,
This is the original.
which is absolutely massive in comparison to the nice slick cafe racer style, and it's probably, what would you say, half the weight of that?
Oh, less than.
Probably less than half the weight of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to my Triumph Daytona, and that's probably got what, half of the padding of this. So this is going to be like an armchair there. But
yeah, thanks again.
Yeah,
it's been good. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. It's been good fun. Yeah.
Thanks, Phil, for the hand, and I hope that
That's
was
all right.
interesting.
Thanks for the biscuits.
It's all right. And yeah, till the next time.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
I know we said we'd finish this, but we found the cone filters that we got with the bike.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't resist.
we couldn't resist but to try, so, and we think it looks pretty friggin' awesome.
Yeah. So that's how it's going to look in the bike, isn't it? Side on.
Yeah. Yeah, they got that racer vibe.
Yeah.